Hello, everyone. So we are live, I think. I'm Carla. I am known as the sales therapist. So I do sales coaching, but I am all about the mental and emotional side of sales and how that's kind of holding you back. So let me just make sure that we are talking today about you're only as good as your emotional intelligence. So let me see. Hopefully you can all see this. So what if I told you the word no? And feel free to put this in the comments as well. But what is your gut reaction when you hear the word no? Does it make you feel like you want to pull back? Like, does it immediately physically make you pull back? Maybe it elicits feelings of unworthiness. Maybe it even makes you a little bit inquisitive. Great to know if you have any strong feelings around the word no, or potentially maybe you used to. So what is interesting is this tiny two-letter word can bring up so much emotion within us. And I've seen it derail so many business conversations as well. So the scary thing is that we've carried this with us since our childhood. It's not something that's appeared when we started our businesses. It's been there for years. And what our business has kind of done is it's put us in a situation where we need to sell ourselves. And that is a place of vulnerability. That is where emotional limiting beliefs love to come up. They love to live in a place of vulnerability. Brilliant, Maya. Watching live. Good to have you on. So basically, puts you into fight or flight mode. Yeah, absolutely. And it can do that for so many people. And it's almost a physical reaction sometimes, isn't it? So in order to overcome this kind of thing, we really need to understand these triggers and to get under the skin of where they are coming from. So when you get under the skin of this, then you're able to know where they've originated and how you can manage them. And unfortunately, triggers are always going to be there because different situations elicit different reactions in us. And it'll bring up different luggage that we've been carrying around with us all these years. I sometimes call it our like Louis Vuitton of luggage that we bring, emotional luggage that we bring with us. But thanks, Chris, to say that you can see that clearly. But the good news is that through being inquisitive and doing the internal work on yourself, you can actually manage these emotions and stop them from holding you back. The reality is that most people do not invest the same amount of intention, practice, effort, determination in the pursuit of their emotional success as they do in the pursuit of their professional. However, without a strong emotional understanding of your thoughts and emotions and how they create and impact your reality, you're going to continue to beat your head against a brick wall in your professional capacity. So how I really help my clients is with 5 key elements to mastering their success. And I'm going to take you briefly through these today so that you can gain an understanding into why your emotions and thoughts are so critical to your sales success and how you can actually start to identify and understand them. So the 5 things that we're going on is a lot of S's. So 5 S's, self-awareness. So a little bit like the 3 C's we had, we've got a theme going here. So we've got self-awareness, self-acceptance, selling with confidence, style shifting. That's a nice tongue twister, and social selling. Right, so self-awareness is the ability to understand and regulate your own emotions. Now, you can read all the books you want, you can do all the YouTube videos, you can get all the qualifications you want, but without self-awareness, you will never move forward in creating the professional and personal life that you desire. I actually saw a quote this week from Stephen Bartlett who said, you can read as many books as you like, but if you're unable to read yourself, you'll never learn a thing. Now, if you don't know who Stephen Bartlett is, He sold his social media agency last year in the UK for £300 million. And he has just become one of the youngest ever dragons on Dragon's Den at the age of 28. So I think he knows a little bit what he's talking about here in terms of success. So I became very self-aware from a young child when my mother was killed when I was very young. My family was so consumed in their own grief that they didn't know how to be there for me. So I spent a lot of time watching and observing everyone. I was very aware of what I said, when I said it, how I said it. And weirdly, this inadvertently evolved into my sales technique, which made me one of the top media sales reps for many years back in South Africa and Africa. I will admit, though, that there are a lot of hugely successful business owners out there with very little self-awareness. However, you usually find that they burn out because they don't build quality relationships with their employees, their suppliers, and even their families. Then on the other end of the spectrum, you have someone like Richard Branson, who has literally built an empire on the mental and emotional well-being of all of those people involved. Yes, he's made a ton of money, but he's also built loyal supporters along the way. And he never stops investing in his own personal growth so that he can be a great leader. He would not have been able to achieve what he has and in the way he has without being aware of his own emotions. Without self-awareness, you can be rich, but you won't be valued. So next we have, oh, sorry, I wanted to just share this little cartoon. It's a little bit inappropriate, I won't lie, but I did think it was a really great way of highlighting kind of self-awareness and self-regulation. So I'll just give you a second to read that. Right. So a little chuckle for the day. So selling with confidence. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I think we've skipped something here. Self-acceptance. My apologies. We skipped ahead. So in order to sell and grow in your business into the success that you envisage, you really need to be able to accept yourself for who you are. And let's be honest, I mean, none of us work very hard in our businesses every day just for fun. We all want some sort of financial reward out of it. But in order to truly elevate your business, you need to accept yourself first. And that is accepting your strengths and your weaknesses. It's about looking inward for motivation. It's about stop chasing every shiny object that passes through. And being able to market yourself effectively is really about knowing where your strengths and weaknesses are. And this doesn't mean that you need to be positive Patty every moment of every day. It just means that you need to accept yourself as a whole. And then that way, you know when you're out of your depth, you know when to ask for help, you know when to outsource certain tasks to somebody who has more skills. And business owners, we're notorious for taking on too much because we sometimes have a low self-acceptance, which is an inability to accept what is and what isn't. And self-acceptance is also amazing at allowing you to accept those no's and not let it derail your efforts going forward. So there's my joke again. Right, selling with confidence. Now, once you start to build this self-awareness, self-acceptance, confidence kind of builds with that. The confidence to sell yourself is such a different beast to selling on behalf of someone else. I even experienced this in my business. So I'd been a successful salesperson for over 17 years. But when it came to selling myself, suddenly I had all these anxious feelings come up. I had this like lack of self-belief, self-esteem. And I was like, where the hell is this coming from? Once I really unpicked it, I realized what I needed to do. And I needed to really position myself differently and understand these emotions and manage them. So don't feel alone if you have that fight or flight, or if asking for money at the end of a sales call makes you feel like you want to throw up. It's very normal. But it's not about putting on a bravado or pretending to be someone you're not. It's an inner self-belief that brings out the confidence. And it's about shaping your thoughts. So being clear on who you are as a person, what you stand for, and it's having an unwavering belief in you as a person and what you're offering. And again, allows you to have the strength to get up when you hear those no's. I wanted to share this picture with you because this was me at a client's office and the client is actually taking the picture. What I wanted to highlight here was that when you show up with confidence and authenticity in who you are, you build stronger relationships. And it doesn't have to be this really awkward, hardcore sales, situation. You can have a laugh. You can, bond a bit with your clients, and that builds loyal customers going forward. Style shifting. Now, one of the most important skills in selling is to know your audience. And once you've got all the other self-awareness and that, you're really able to read a room or a Zoom. This is why sales scripts and old sales techniques don't work, because people buy into people. And when you are authentic and flexible enough to read the situation as it progresses, then you will succeed. But if you remain rigid in your structure, you will come unstuck. So now many people find this difficult because they will prepare a speech or a presentation, and then someone in the room will throw a curveball comment and it'll completely throw them off. And then what happens is it sort of snowballs because it derails them from the rigid structure they were in, and it knocks their confidence because they struggle to come back from it. So prepping is key, but always allow for flexibility so you can shift your style when and where you need it. And again, this is not changing who you are. It's just knowing when you need to talk more, when you need to listen more, when you need to give somebody more facts, or maybe they like more of the emotive approach, and really listening to what the client needs, and then you're able to react accordingly. And the final one is social selling. Now, I like to think of sales as just another conversation. It's kind of a chance to socially connect with somebody, to learn more about them. And if I can help them, fantastic. If I can't, I can maybe always refer them on to somebody. And I'll give you an example. If you went to a restaurant last night that you absolutely loved, and today your friend came to you asking for a recommendation for a restaurant, you would have no issues selling that restaurant in essence. So you would talk about the food, you'd talk about how amazing the ambience was, you'd go into great deal of detail about the location, the service. You are selling on behalf of the restaurant. So we do it all the time, but the minute we label something as a sales conversation, it puts such immense pressure on ourselves. And so if you change your thinking to think about it as like networking, or maybe just coffee with a new friend, this will really help you to alleviate the anxiety and the thoughts that you're creating around this idea of selling. Also with social selling is empathy is really key. So it's really understanding what that person is going through and being able to support them. But the sweet spot is key, because you don't want to be over invested in their problem that you then are not able to support them objectively. I saw this come up and I thought, this is very true of where we're at in this pandemic, where, I think a lot of our social skills have kind of become Tom Hanks on a desert island. So, I just say, like, get out there again, have more conversations. The more you're talking, the more you just taking that like concept of sales out of it and just having conversations with people, the easier it will become, and you'll be able to get back to, Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump. So I hope you can see today that why sales is more about what's going on in your thought pattern than actually what the reality is, and how your subconscious is controlling your ability to create sales in your business. And once you really start to unpick, understand, and manage those thoughts and emotions, you can create unstoppable success in your business. So that is me. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you found some valuable tips in there, and remember your 5 S's. And yeah, hope you enjoy all the rest of the amazing speakers. And thank you again to Karina for having us all here. Brilliant.